Good day, doodlers. Welcome to Draw Cartoons. Today we've got the ever-young Ash Ketchum from the Pokemon anime series. Thanks to Miles is Crazy for the suggestion. If you've got something in mind you'd like me to draw, let me know in the comments below. Make sure you watch the whole video today because I've got some great tips for you as always. You're going to need a pencil, paper, an eraser and a Sharpie to go over your sketch with. Let's go! Let's get started. But first, if you want to learn to draw the fast and easy way, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. Let's begin! Okay, so this time we're going to start with a box for the head. I know we normally start with a oval or like a circle shape, but this time, because of the shape of his head, we're going to go for drawing a box. Okay, so it's a little bit taller than it is wide, just like that, and then cut it right down the middle, just like this. There you go, and then you keep going as we usually do. You keep going, keep that line of symmetry going. That's how we know it's going to look the same on both sides. It's like a mirror. And when you get to about yay high, that's about maybe 3 heads in total, if you can kind of picture that. Just draw a line across the bottom. That's going to be the floor that our character is standing on. So once you've got that far, draw a line about the middle of this kind of line here. If you kind of have a look at that height. Draw a line right there in the middle. That's going to be the waist, so that's where the torso, this bit, where the legs, that's where they separate. Okay, so once you've drawn that in, we can start drawing in the really basic shapes of the body. So, let's start with a small box here for the neck. Nothing too big. Don't want him looking like a giraffe. And then a box underneath that for the torso. Okay? Pretty much as wide as the head. And then we're just going to build all our shapes inside these really basic shapes that we're starting off with. So again, let's cut this line in half, so you can see it's half of this length. Let's cut this one in half very gently. These are just guidelines, so make sure you're going quite gently with your pencil. Draw another box like this. Okay. And then once you've done that, we can just quickly draw in the shapes of the legs. So there's going to be one leg coming down out of this box, and it flicks out here where the foot is. And we'll just draw one more line on the inside here for the back of the leg. So we're going to do that on the other side too. So here's the front of the leg and then like a foot flicking out here. And then the back of the leg goes about here. Now if you've got your eraser, if you think it's helpful, you can actually get rid of this line in the middle now. I don't really need it. It's done its job for telling us more or less how far apart those legs should be. So let's draw in the shapes of the arms now. So one of the arms is going to come down like this. And it's going to end in the shape of a hand, so we can quickly draw that in now. I like to get the hard bit done first, so we'll do that now. Draw a line across at the end of that there, see that? And then starting here, we're going to draw a thumb. We're going to draw a closed fist as we usually do. It's nice and easy and it looks really good. So a curve that goes around like this, and then you head it off with a line there. And then we'll just draw 3 more curves like this. One C-shaped curve. Then another behind it, and then one more behind it for 3 closed fingers and a thumb here. Okay, it might take a few tries to get that down, but I have done a tutorial on how to draw hands. I will link it in the corner as always. Moving swiftly on, this other arm needs drawing in now. So again, I'm just going to draw in a stick to kind of show us where the arm's going to be, but I'm going to stop here. And as you can see in the example I've got behind, we're actually going to curve this up. We're going to go for something new. I'm going to curve this up. We're going to draw Ash holding a Pokeball. I mean, when is he seen not holding a Pokeball, right? So it's perfect. Perfect pose for him. So again, we're going to head it off with a line. And then watch closely here, because this bit might be quite tricky. If you've never drawn a character holding something, you're about to learn something new. So we'll start here. We'll draw a line up like this, just a little bit. But then I'm going to start to curve it in like this. Okay, I'm going to head it off like a kind of like a sausage shape here. And before I get to the other line that I drew here, before I get to there, I'm just going to flick it back out with a nice little bump here, okay? So this is the palm of the hand right here, and this is his little finger right there. So now that I've drawn that, I'm going to draw a circle sitting inside this shape. Okay, this is going to be a Pokeball, so it's just sitting snugly in that shape there. You can see it, if you've drawn it right, it'll look like it's resting against this finger here and this part of the palm here. So once you've drawn that, you can draw another circle inside it. That's going to be the button of the Pokeball. And then you can just kind of draw a line that curves around and shows you which direction the Pokeball's facing, okay? So we'll draw another finger resting behind the Pokeball here. Okay, And the other fingers, we probably can't really see them because they're hidden behind the Pokeball. So as far as fingers, we're done, but we do need to draw a thumb. So if you just kind of draw a curve bumping out here, and then maybe another one there, coming back to the wrist, and now you've got a thumb here, and his fingers holding the Pokeball in place. Now we'll draw the rest of the arm in just a moment, but for now we're going to actually start drawing the shape of the head because it's a little bit tricky, and it's one of the more interesting aspects of any character, so we're going to jump in right now. So in order to do that, we need to cut this box for the head in half again, but this time we're going to cut it across the middle, more or less. Maybe just slightly under the middle, I think, but just a gentle line from left to right because you're going to rub that line out later, so don't worry about drawing that in too hard. And once you've drawn that, start here, come down at just away from the side of that box. You see that? Just away from it a little bit, and then once we get near the bottom, about here, bring it right into that middle bit there, okay? That's going to be the chin. So I'm just going to do that again on the other side. So right down from where those lines meet, come away from that box just a little bit, and then when you get to about there, bring it right into the chin, just like that. Okay, so we've got the head shape down, or at least the jawline, I should say. Probably match that neck up there, make sure it's reaching the jaw. So once you've done that, you can actually draw in an ear on either side of the head. The top of the ear is right there where all those lines meet. It curves up a bit, loops down, and then rests at the side of the head like that. So you'll start to see the shapes all kind of coming together if you just draw it on the other side like so. Again, curve it into the side of the head there. Okay, so let's work on the top half first. I like to get the hat out of the way because it's a little bit tricky. So about here, we're going to start here. We're going to draw a line that curves up through that line in the middle and then about there. So make sure those are level, okay? Make sure those two edges are level like that. So then another curve that's just a little bit more bendy goes right up like this and then comes down to about here. And then one more that pretty much traces the shape that we just drew, but it's just over it, and that's going to be the very, very tip of his hat. It's all going to come together in a moment, don't worry about it, it's all going to come together. So now's a good time to draw in the shape of his hair, because we've got this here. If you just draw a line straight out there, where all those lines meet, draw a line that comes out a little bit and then bumps back towards the head just a tiny bit like that. Then a really big bump that comes out right behind the ear, and then comes to rest about there. We've got a smaller bump underneath that one, got this kind of hilly, almost zigzaggy pattern going on, and we've got one more that just kind of bumps out and then it sits behind the head like that. So I'm going to show you that again on the other side. So we've got a small bump coming out. Okay, I've smudged my line a little bit there, let me just tidy that up for you. And then a big one that goes behind the ear like this. And then two smaller ones, okay? So we've got a smaller one that bumps out a little bit, but then goes closer to the head, and that last little one that brings it to go completely behind the head, like that. So now, let's just draw a line coming from just inside the hat and resting above his ear, so we can see, we can just kind of frame the face, we can kind of work on drawing the face in just a moment. But like I said, I like to tackle that hat first, and then we can get that out of the way. So now that we've got the hair drawn, we can come up from here, and as you come towards the corner of the guideline that you drew, we want to loop the line through it like that, okay? Just curve it through it, come up and over, and we're going to go through that corner again, and then bring it back down to rest on the hair like that. So if you want, if it makes things a bit clearer for you, you can get your eraser. I'm going to do it. You can get rid of these guidelines now. You know that we drew that box? That box was just there to show us where to draw some of our lines, but it's kind of served its purpose now, just like the line at the very, very bottom that we did with the legs down here. Just like that one, we can get rid of that at this stage. So there's a line here on this side of his hat and a line here on this side of his hat. And we can quickly draw in the pattern that he has in the front of his hat. So it's just kind of a simple shape. It's like a bracket that's been turned on its side like that, and it's on the top, but there's also a mirror of it underneath, and we can't really see the bottom part because the front of the hat's in the way. This is in the way, so you don't have to worry about drawing too much of it. You can just kind of draw the sides of it peeking up like that. So now we'll draw the face now. This is a bit tricky, but stay with me, we'll tackle this together. So I think it's easiest to draw his little fringe of hair first. Okay, so we'll draw a bump coming down and curving back towards that line that we've got to mark the middle of the face. But before you get there, come right down again for a bigger curve like this before bringing it back up behind the hat, or rather under the hat, I should say. So now that you've got that, the eyes can sit snugly either side of it, so to speak. So one eye's going to go here and one eye's going to go here. So kind of either side but a bit lower like that. So I'm just going to show you what I mean. I think it's easier to draw an eyebrow first. So I'm just going to draw a line that curves away like this and a line that curves away like that. Now they've got some kind of determined looking eyebrows there. We can nest the eyes right underneath it. So I'm going to draw that right now. I'm going to come away from the eyebrow like this, curve down, and as I get to roughly halfway through the ear, you see that if I cut the ear in half, that's going to be level with where the bottom of the eye is, if you need a measurement for how far you should go with that eye. So right at the bottom of the eye, I'm going to curve that back up to sit underneath the eyebrow. So I'm just going to show you that again. We're going to curve away like this, get to roughly where halfway through the ear is. As a marker for where the bottom of the eye is, just draw a nice straight line like that, and I'm just going to bring that back up to the eyebrow. And now we can draw in some pupils. So Ash has very tall anime style pupils, so we'll draw those in pretty much right in the center of each eye, really tall kind of loop shapes like that. Okay, if yours ends up looking a bit rounder, that's perfectly fine, because in his older art his eyes were a bit rounder looking, weren't they? They've kind of stretched them up and down for the later seasons of the anime, haven't they? So okay, so we'll just draw a small point up for the nose here, kind of high up the face, so we're leaving a bit of space for the mouth down here, and the mouth will go roughly halfway between the nose and the chin. Okay, so if I just draw a little line there to show myself where that middle is. Okay, and now that I've got that line there, I can kind of draw the mouth however I like, but I like Ash's kind of determined expression that he's got in a lot of his splash art. I'm going to draw that now. So I'm going to start here, going to go through that line that I drew to show me where the middle of the face is, or sorry, where the mouth belongs. I'm going to kind of come up a bit, and then I'm going to flick it up right at the end. And he's got kind of like a determined smile, like, yeah, you're going to fight my Pokemon, it's going to be a great battle. And then Ash's trademark kind of Z-shaped cheeks, one under each eye, and there we go. So I'd actually say we've done the hardest part of the drawing now. I like to get the hardest part done first, as I say. So let's tackle the easier parts. So we've got a short sleeve shirt here, got a curve, comes down and then cuts across that line that we had for the arm. Okay, so again, that has to be on the other side. He is wearing a symmetrical t-shirt. It's got a sleeve on each side, so don't forget about that. And then the rim of each sleeve is white. So we'll just draw a line in to show. So this bit's white, this bit's blue. So he's wearing a backpack, so let's draw in a strap on this side, and it just kind of loops out towards the outside of his body like this. Once you get there, you can just kind of curve it off and then draw a small blob here, and that's the bit that's going to attach to the backpack that's resting on his back. So again, we need to draw that on the other side, so we're going to curve out like this. Okay, up and over the shoulder a little bit, just kind of building little curves, get those shapes right. And then a blob on the end. That's just where the strap, this is the strap, hooks into the backpack on its back. So now that we've drawn those, we can draw this here. This is the very neck of his shirt, and then a small curve underneath that. And then we've got kind of a stripy pattern going along his t-shirt, haven't we? So we'll start from the bottom and we'll work up. So we've got a line that's very close to the very, very bottom of his shirt, and then a line that's just a bit further up. Then we've got another one of these white stripes going right across his torso like this. And then we've got one more, and since you're working in pencil, you can do it this way. If you just draw the stripe normally, but right in the middle of that stripe, there's actually a bit of it missing. So if you get your eraser and just get rid of a circle like that, okay, nice circular shape, you can then draw as if the circle was there, and there you go, you've got the pattern of his shirt, bang on. There's just like an invisible circle kind of cut into that stripe there. It's a bit hard to explain, but you'll understand it once you draw it. Okay, so we've got an arm to finish off here. We've just got stick arms, haven't we? So we're going to draw this arm here. Going to come out of the sleeve and then come up towards the hand. And then again coming down away from this hand and tucking it into that sleeve. Again, you can get rid of guidelines as you go. I'll get rid of this just to kind of show he's not wearing a long sleeve t-shirt underneath his short sleeve t-shirt or anything. There's nothing there, it's just kind of a bare wrist. Unlike this other side, there's a watch here, isn't there? There's Mega Evolution Watch, or a Z Evolution Watch, sorry, going on here. Z Move Watch, sorry. It's been a while since I played Pokemon Sun and Moon, so kind of rusty on the details, but for now we're just going to draw a circle to show us where the face of the watch is, and then a strap that comes out and then comes down, and that kind of forms his wrist for us. It's kind of drawn his wrist for us. So now what we have to do is draw the arm tucking into that sleeve. Okay, so we're going to tackle the watch last because I want to get those shorts done. Those shorts have been bothering me for too long here. I want to get this sorted out. So first of all, we'll come up here and get them separated because there's been no separation there. It looks a bit like a skirt, and I don't think Ash wears skirts. So we'll come across here and here for the red kind of hem of his shorts. There we go. And then we'll just get rid of that divider there. There we go. That's what Ash wears. Okay, so now we've got a pocket here, and that's a red pocket. It's a simple curve that just kind of comes from underneath the t-shirt and then just kind of comes out like that. Okay, so same on the other side. And then another line that's a bit bigger, and on the other side too. Okay, so this bit here is red, and this is just kind of like a pattern on his shorts. And now let's draw in those shoes. So we can actually start with a small circle right at the front, where the front of the ankle, where the foot starts to come out. So that on each side. So he's wearing very kind of low cut shoes, isn't he? He's not wearing any socks. You don't have to worry about drawing any socks. So we'll draw a line across here and across here, right from the circles that we drew. And once we've drawn them, I'll start with this shoe. I'll finish this shoe before I move on to this one. They're both the same, but it's better to show you one at a time. So we'll come out a little bit, and then come back in towards the guideline, and then come back out to go all the way down to where the floor is. Once you've drawn that, you can draw a small bump right at the very sole of the shoe here, and then the end of the shoe we can just kind of make sure it flicks up at the end just a little bit, very subtle small curve like that comes back up towards this circle here. Okay, so now there's, let's get that pattern knocked out. If it helps you can get rid of this guideline that we drew earlier. Just with your eraser, just gently tickle that away till it's gone. And now let's draw in the pattern. So we've got a small white loop here, which is where the sole of his shoe is. And then over this, we've got a white stripe that goes over that loop that we just drew. And then it goes straight across the foot. And then it dives into that dip that we drew earlier. This bit here, it goes straight into that. So I'm just going to draw another line over that because that is a white stripe. I want to fill that in with white later. And then curve it over the heel, just like that. So now we're going to draw the other shoe, and it's just the same again, where we'll do a little bump like this, go in and then back out. And then we'll flatten it out where the sole of the foot is. Again, we're going to draw a bump here where the sole is a little bit raised, and then another bump just kind of flicking off the edge of the shoe because that's the shape his shoe has. And I'm just going to kind of get rid of that line that I already had just to kind of stop any confusion. So let's draw that small flicky up bit for the sole of the shoe, and then that stripe that comes up over it, across, and then jumps up into that little bump we drew before. So same again, across and into that heel. Okay, so time for that final bit of detail, the Z ring. So actually, you know what, we drew a circle, but let's get rid of that. Let's just get your eraser. We're actually going to make that into a hexagon. I think that's a bit of a better shape because it is actually a hexagon shape. So now that we've erased that out gently with our eraser, you can kind of cut this shape off here. And once you've done that, we'll come up towards the arm in a point and then come towards the outside of the arm. So I'm going to do another point pointing towards the hand this time. and then we'll join them up with a straight line like that. Once you've got the hexagon down, we'll draw a small diamond sitting right in the middle of the Z ring. That's going to be his Z crystal for lightning. You can put a little lightning bolt inside it if you like. And then either side of it, just a small kind of triangular looking shape, which is etched onto the Z ring itself, just sitting underneath that crystal. And voila, there you go, you have your sketch of Ash Ketchum that's done. So get your Sharpie ready. We're going to go over all those lines we want to keep. Don't go over any of the guidelines. You don't want that, for example, or that, or any of those lines of symmetry helping us to kind of get those shapes in place. But everything else is fair game. And once you've done that, you'll have your very own perfect drawing of Ash Ketchum. While you're going over your sketch with your Sharpie, it might be a great time to correct any last mistakes you spot as you go and fix them. And there you go, Ash Ketchum ready to catch 'em all. Don't forget that you can now share your artwork in my Discord channel. Hit the link in the description below to join and start sharing right away. Until next time,